when you open to the calling of being the instrument of love, of peace, even just the hint of it, you'll get a strand every once in a while of familiar. And that familiar is the gift. It's a communication to you that the calling to be the instrument of love is not actually a special calling. It is the grace of God, and it is a blessing that you are hearing it so that you can, in some ways, lead the way as the instrument of love. But it is the truth of every beloved to open to the awareness that we are all the instrument of love. We can't be anything else in truth. You can think you can be something else, but this is your single purpose. As the instrument of love, you become the love that you are. Open to the possibility, open to wearing it like a beautiful coat until it becomes a part of you. You can't probably imagine, or maybe you can. Somebody would say, what is it that you do? What's your life about? And that the answer would be learning to be the instrument of love. It's a place of, that the ego would like to say is audacious, that you would say to someone that you are learning to be the instrument of love. But what other truth is there? And as you become at home with that truth, you're not saying it to prove anything. You're stating a fact of your awareness and your purpose and your heart. It's where you thrive because it's so close to home, the instrument of love. Does it make a difference to realize that you are learning to be the instrument of love? That this is part of the schoolroom? As you embrace this truth, you'll see that it has no arrogance in it at all. It's truth. When you look at the truth of love, it isn't a brag, it isn't pride, it's a natural state. But how can you be less than the natural state of everything, of love, because love is everything? As you are willing to let go of the more or less syndrome of the ego, the idea that being the instrument of love is something too lofty, it will completely disappear because you'll be able to laugh at it. Lofty means there must be a hierarchy of importance, And if there's a hierarchy of importance, then everything is separate from everything else. Anything that is of leader, one that leads the way, it's the temporariness of a second that has that beloved walking ahead slightly to lead the way. But it's so temporary that the truth of love doesn't even have to make a word out of it. And it's such a blessing to lead that there is no personal identity with it at all. The instrument of love, free, whole, and already the truth of God. There's a beautiful chant that many know or are aware of. And it's a chant that expresses an intention, the intention to remember to be and that you are the instrument of love. What happens when that chant is filling the space is that your prayers are being heard. Your heart is being stirred, and you have the opportunity of realizing how much you long to be the instrument of love, and that you are so willing to be shown, be taught what you truly are. Make me an instrument, humble and free, as I awaken the living Christ in me. Make me an instrument, born of thy peace, as I let go, as I release. Make me an instrument, humble and free, as I awaken the living Christ in me. That prayer that you can sing, and sometimes it helps for it to be carried by the music, that your heart can open and the mind can stay still. When you're saying prayers, sometimes the mind can mess around with the attention and the focus. And the ego can certainly do that with music as well, but it's not as clear. The ego's intention isn't as pronounced with just words. The music helps to bring it into the heart and feel the desire, feel the longing to be that instrument. To be that instrument, the longing is really basically that you are then more connected to the truth of who you are. It isn't a station of a higher place. It's that you come into the truth of who you are more fully, and your purpose becomes more defined. And love extends itself with your intention. Make me an instrument of thy peace, born of thy peace. To say those words are a powerful request, powerful acceptance at the same time. Make me an instrument. Imagine that in every element of your life, that in the moment you affirm that you are an instrument of love, an instrument of God's peace. How does that affect the relationship of the moment? If you are accepting and wanting to be the instrument of peace, time can fall away, habits can fall away, structure can fall away, so that love can lead the way. All of the habits of knowing what's going to be next falls away because you're following as the instrument of peace. As I let go, as I release, make me an instrument of thy peace. Letting go, releasing all the identity within the world and opening to being just the peace, the instrument of peace. Who wouldn't you want to bring the peace to? That's the opportunity of the deeper healing as well. The moon covers her face with both hands. What we speak becomes the house we live in. Who would want to sleep in your bed if the roof leaks right above it? Look what happens when the tongue cannot say to kindness, I will be your slave. The moon covers her face with both hands and can't bear to look. What we speak and think becomes the house we live in. This is a direct connection with praying to be the instrument of peace. Because when your intention is to be the instrument of peace, it takes charge of what you speak and think. Because everything comes through that beautiful filter that you want to bring peace. So that everything that you say and everything that you think becomes slowed down, and you're in a deeper contact with the purpose of your thoughts and the choosing of the thoughts or the words to be able to be the instrument of peace. It may slow it down quite a bit for a while, that you are really paying attention that to be the instrument of peace is to use the words that God provides in peace, and that your heart is open to being the instrument of peace, gentleness, kindness, all part of peace. And it becomes the house that you live in because you fill the house with peace. You fill yourself with peace. It's the house you live in. And you find yourself, as you want to extend peace and be the instrument of peace, that your the center of your being is becoming more and more a place of peace. And the worries and the concerns and the ideas of good and bad and right and wrong and how things should end and how what good endings are and what bad endings are, and give it all to God. And you rest in peace, bringing peace, and not never worry or concern, because only peace is real. Only love is real. Look what happens when the tongue cannot say to kindness, I will be your slave. When the tongue cannot say to kindness, I will be your slave. For your tongue to be the slave of kindness. What a beautiful instrument. What a beautiful relationship. For the tongue to be the slave. In that way, it's what the longing is really about. Another way of saying it is, as Hafiz has said it in the past, I don't want to touch anything in this world without realizing it is my beloved. I don't want to touch anything in this world without the realization that I'm touching the beloved. The immediate thought with that is, that's a whole other set of dishes. I'm not interested in that. But it's part of your true self, and the realization and the acceptance that everything that lives is one with you. Everything that carries the life force of God is one with you. And you don't want to touch anything or look on anything without seeing the Christ light that lives in everything. It's not a burden. It's the calling of love. There's a relationship in the world with upset and reaction. How does the relationship with reaction, how does it get healed? Because it's very painful. You can walk into a room And someone can say a word or use a use a timbre of their voice, and there can be a reaction to it because the mind is calculating whether you like it or don't like it, or if it reminds you of something in the past. And it's such a painful place to live without even recognizing that it's painful. It's so acceptable to have reactions and to believe them. But love is calling you to no longer believe the reactions, because the reactions are coming from the mind that is perceiving upset. And the perception of the upset, the perception of the likes or dislikes, or the feeling of danger, all of it's coming from a belief that you've carried since the beginning of separation. And every lifetime, it reinforces itself. Most beloveds think that someone gives you part of your personality. But in truth, you come with all of the parts already held. The belief of suspicion comes into incarnation. The belief of jealousy or greed, comparisons, they all are part of the incarnation, the agreement. And you can begin to see it with even two babies. You give one a bottle, the other one doesn't get one. There's a conflict, a sense of being deprived. It's a built-in belief system. And yet, everyone is here to heal all of these untruths that have held humanity prisoner since the beginning of separation, since the belief of separation. There's no way that every little child doesn't believe in comparisons. My truck, my baby, my mommy. It's all a comparison that's built in, and it's painful from the beginning. This is what everyone came to heal. And the only real way of healing is first the recognition that it's not your identity with pain and suffering is made out of a belief that you need punishment somehow. And there's no truth to it. No truth at all. And the belief in scarcity runs the secret show. Everything is lacking. Everything is comparisons because some seem to have more than others, but that's only so that to make sure that the ego makes sure that we have plenty of enemies. But there is no scarcity, and that is the place of offering love that is being called into your heart. Look what happens when the tongue cannot say to kindness, I will be your slave. That's actually such a powerful element of healing. of healing all of the ideas of scarcity, comparisons, greed, jealousy. All of it is fabricated in the belief that it has truth. And from the time a baby is able to observe, the baby reflects the perception that's already running in the mind. What questions does the wanting for peace bring to you? What questions do you ask? How does this situation help me to learn more fully? What am I believing that I'm seeing? How can I surrender more deeply? And even the question of how can I question more if it's helpful? And how can I help myself remember truth more easily? Show me the way. You have all the tools, all the tools. Make me an instrument of thy peace. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument. When you meet someone and you are holding that you are wanting and dedicated to being the instrument of love, when you meet someone, that in that moment, you're already have the opportunity to demonstrate and to be that instrument of peace, of love. You listen with a different awareness. You look with a different awareness. You pause more often to clear your relationship with truth so that you can be more deeply the instrument of love. And you probably think, oh, geez, that sounds like a lot of work and a lot of trouble. But almost everyone already has a struggle within their perceptions. When you're looking at another and you're worried about what they think, you're already in pain. Or if you're comparing yourself to them in some way, you're already in pain. And the instrument of love is to bring you out of the pain. When you fill your heart with gratitude and compassion and kindness and gentleness, because it's what you want to offer and what there is to offer, but it also is kindness to yourself and gentleness and honesty. It all blesses you because it's the truth of who you are. Make me an instrument of thy peace as I let go, as I release. Make me an instrument, humble and free, as I awaken the living Christ in me. A beautiful calling to a beautiful purpose, which is necessary and natural. Instrument of love. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument and let me not interfere with my own thoughts, my own ideas of the meaning of being the instrument. Show me the way. Humble and free, show me the way.